Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a review for you from the house of Parfum d'Empire. This one is Tabac Tabou. Now I have an official sample of this perfume. This particular sample is listed as an eau de parfum. Now I believe that currently it is only sold as an extrait de parfum, so obviously something has changed along the way. My assumption is that it's just being sold in that stronger concentration, but the perfume itself is still the same, whether it's EDP or extrait de parfum. And please, I have if you understand this to be a different case, then let me know. But the notes haven't changed, and there's no listing on any of the websites to say that they are in fact different perfumes, other than it's a different concentration. I'm going to spray this on. I've been wearing this all day as my scent of the day, so I'm just going to say right from the beginning that performance of this perfume is excellent, because I sprayed this on at 7:30 this morning. 12 hours later, I can still smell it on my skin. You might, like as the day wore on, I wasn't noticing too much projection or sillage, but it's definitely still there on my skin when I smell it. So it's got staying power. Now, obviously from the name, you can assume that tobacco is a big part of this perfume. And yes, it is, but I think the main player in this one is this narcissus accord. Now, up until recently, would have struggled to kind of identify this note in any perfume, but I've come to realise that now that I've smelled a few other perfumes that feature narcissus as a dominant note or accord, that it's obviously a floral accord, but I know sometimes it's described as yellow florals, and I guess that kind of makes sense. The way I interpret narcissus on my skin is it has a similar texture to orris or iris, except the way its characteristics are the opposite, basically. Where iris is cool and grey and a little bit earthy, just imagine that the same texture, that kind of velvety texture, but warmer. And instead of earthy, it's kind of got a little bit of sweaty skin, animalic aspects to it. And the beauty of this perfume is that there's a few notes here that blend into each other really seamlessly. So you've got the narcissus, which in of itself has some similar aspects to tobacco. Now, the tobacco note here, if you're expecting somewhat of a sweet tobacco style in this perfume, you're not going to find that. This is no tobacco vanille or pure Havana kind of tobacco. The tobacco here has a kind of sour dampness, which also shares this aspect with the narcissus, and there's also immortelle in this scent that blends in with those other notes. So there is not, on my skin, this perfume does not have a clear linear development. This to me is quite an opaque perfume, in that it doesn't really transition from one stage to the other, and what you get is a a block of accords that kind of work so well and are blended so well together that you're never quite sure what you're smelling. Deep into the dry down, it does get musky, and I know in the note pyramid here there is this kind of fantasy sensual skin accord, which I think really is what I'm smelling, and the musk here is very similar to a raw material that I have, which smells very similar to muscanone, which is a type of synthetic musk. It's in that ballpark basically, and I can understand why, you could imagine you can imagine this mixture of, the salty dampness of warm skin mixed into here as well. And so the perfume itself is not challenging to wear at all. I don't find. I mean, when I don't want to. I don't even want to use the words animalic. It is definitely a kind of human kind of skin accord that comes through with that damp sour tobacco slash narcissus, the warmth of the immortelle. There is a wild grass note listed in the pyramid. Where that is in, that my nose detects, I can't recognize it here. But it's definitely a very warm, sensual perfume. It doesn't project a huge amount, and I think that's kind of characteristic with a perfume where you're mainly using a lot of base notes as your ingredients, and so it sticks around on the skin a long time. I found myself just constantly going back to smell this perfume on the back of my hand, and which is always a good sign for me of a perfume, in that you kind of can't get enough of it, no matter how long you've worn it for. Uh, I don't think this would be suitable in warmer weather because of its characteristics. And like I said, there's not a lot of linear development. It kind of sits on your skin, and more, I guess, slowly reveals layers of, bits of it evaporate, but you can smell the base from the beginning, and it's sort of, I guess, it expands to reveal itself rather than peels layers off to reveal itself. It is another really, really good perfume from this house, and I've got to say, I of all the Parfum d'Empire that I have smelled, I think, well, I own three of them. I own three bottles. I've smelled this. I've smelled Corsica Furiosa and a couple of others, but I've got to say, I have not smelled a bad perfume yet from Parfum d'Empire. Tabac Tabou, one thing you should all know, apparently this is produced in more limited quantities to other perfumes that they make, because of the raw materials they use here apparently are kind of limited availability each year. How much of that is marketing, I don't know, because I think because of that, and the fact that it's an extrait de parfum now, it's a little bit pricier than some of the other ones in their line. But if that kind of tobacco, floral, heavy yellow floral tobacco sounds appealing to you. And also, I want to say, for those of you who are a bit apprehensive about Immortelle in here, it is a background player. It kind of adds a little bit of color and depth to the rest of the composition. It's really well made. It's a lovely, warm tobacco with a difference. And I definitely recommend you sample it. I'm not sure if I personally speaking, need a bottle of this. It is a good perfume, but again, this is just one that wears really nicely on me, but I don't connect with enough to say I really need a bottle of this. You know, like it's happened with other ones in their lines, but this one here I can probably live without. But like I said, if it all sounds appealing to you, definitely sample it. And if you've tried it, let me know what you think in the comments. That's all I've got to say about Tabac Tabou from Parfum d'Empire. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.